Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here today. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among many other things. Now we're taking a look here today at Chiliz, which is a fantastic coin. I recommend you do your own research, of course, because this is just a technical analysis, but I can tell you this is a fan favorite, no pun intended. My community members love this coin and asked for me to cover it, so thank you so much for the recommendation. I'd be more than happy to jump in here. I just love analyzing charts pretty much all day long, so thank you. Call me what you want, but this is fun for me. Now, I am not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. You should do your own research at all times and take ownership of your own trades. And bear in mind, I have a community that I've created, of course, that is fantastic. It's growing day by day, and it's just a community in which I actually share my trades with my patrons. So feel free to reference that in your own time, of course, but I do send out signals every time I enter, buy signals, sell signals, etc. Just, good general best practice so we can all kind of profit together, right? Currently have about an 80% success rate in the last month and a half alone. So it's been pretty good. Awesome results there. So thank you for checking that out. And more importantly, thank you to my current community members. You're all very awesome. I wouldn't be here without you. So thank you so much. I very much appreciate you. Let's go ahead and jump right into the charts. Without further ado, let's get to it. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look here at Chiliz. And just before we do, we always look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first, get a baseline of the market so we know exactly what's going on, because every good trader will look at all the angles before they invest, right? Right. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at that here. And just before we do, to preface, I always utilize TradingView.com. Fantastic chart analysis tool. Always recommend the paid versions because it allows you to have more than 2 indicators. I do have a link in the description below if you'd like to check that out. Gives you 1 free month to kind of play around and see if you like it. I definitely recommend that. But what I'm going to do here is just quickly describe what I utilize here on the charts. I first of all use my SMA 200 and the 50. I prefer the SMA on larger time frames. Others prefer EMAs, but I think it just makes more sense because it doesn't respond so quick to the price action, gives you the real averages that you're looking for, and it seems to be more effective. Just in my years of trading, I feel like it works best. So that being said, I've got the 50 and the 200. This orange is the 50 and the 200 is the purple. We've got a support level at 45,000 and 42,500. So both of these are support levels right now. The 45,000 was just tested here today about 4 to 6 hours ago. Okay, and the price ramped back up just to a bit closer to a little over 46. So right now it's kind of hovering in this channel between 45 and 46,000. So what's interesting though is that it spent very little time down in this channel here between 42.5 and 45,000. So we'll see what happens soon. But if we were to have the price come back down, there's a chance actually there's a strong chance it'll bounce, because take a look at this here. I don't normally look at the 1-day chart, but obviously we got a pretty strong supporting factor here of the 200, because obviously the price yesterday, which just closed about 2.5 hours ago, that last 24-hour period closed well above the 200 simple moving average, so that is now a support. So we got a support there, plus 45,000. So honestly, if the price comes back down, it'll probably bounce off and bounce quick and fast like it did already one time today. Keep that in mind. So we're in pretty good shape here with Bitcoin. Moving on to Ethereum. A very similar scenario here. We've got a strong support at 2,900, which was tested multiple times back here. I counted a good 10, 12 times when I looked at that previously. Okay, so again, strong support level now that it's been broken. You can see it was tested twice. So we're on the up and up for Ethereum as well. I think we're going to stay over 2,900 as long as Bitcoin doesn't, break 40,000 or lower. We should be in really good shape to see Ethereum continue to take off. Again, because Bitcoin doesn't really have a ceiling right now. I would think, what is it, 51,200 is the current resistance level for Bitcoin. So we've got almost $5,000 to $6,000 worth of play. I think that's somewhere in the range of 20%. So honestly, we're going to be looking pretty good for Ethereum if that happens. All right. Moving on to Chiliz, let's take a look here. First of all, we look at the 1-day chart first, and then we move on, right? Because the 1-day chart, we need to look at the average true range and also kind of understand how that correlates with Bitcoin. In other words, the sell-off for Bitcoin came on April 17th. We all kind of remember that. That was the first day we all lost 15% of our Bitcoin and about 25% of our altcoins, and that was April 17th. So that's this red candle here. So obviously, Chiliz sold off up until the 25th, very standard. Most altcoins ramped up to this area up here, but Chiliz just kind of went sideways for a while. right? So that tells me that even though we've had kind of these heightened states for Chiliz, upwards of 80 plus cents, its average true range is somewhere in the range about 45 to 57. So I would say there's a 15-cent variance there, somewhere in that range. But generally speaking, 45 is the low point, and I would say 60 is the high point of its average true range. Therefore, we're about we're about 12 cents off from the bottom of the zone. Okay, so that basically means we have a lot more room for growth here. Bear in mind too, we have let's take a look at that here. That looks like that's a pretty strong support. Let's go ahead and mark that. Look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now 7. So approximately 30, what is that? We can round up and say 34 cents. Right around 34 cents has been tested multiple times, okay? So that's why it got rejected here today. That's pretty standard. But I would venture to guess that if we can break through that here soon, again, the one-day chart has to break through that. We're going to see that happen. In other words, tomorrow in this new candle, we want to see this candle here stay above. Okay, so we've got plenty of hours to go. We got about 22 hours left in this trading cycle. So just something to understand and something to note. Also, furthermore, we've got RSI up over 70. It's peaking up there. Still plenty of room for growth. Just because RSI is up over 70 doesn't mean you have to sell. It just means you want to pay attention and perhaps move your stop loss up, right? There's different ways you can approach it, but don't let anyone tell you that you just want to sell based on the RSI being over 70. If anything, wait for the RSI to start coming back down below 70. That's the key. So July 23rd, yeah, that's kind of normal. We don't need to mark that, but that was the first convergence on the MACD. On the one-day chart, big surprise, that was 3 days after Bitcoin jumped over 30,000. Okay, so looking at the 4-hour chart here, we can see that resistance level at approximately 34 cents. We've got the price up over the 50 and the 200. As we can see, the 50 was working as a pretty strong support, and it got rejected here and swung upwards. In fact, that helped the MACD converge on, it was what, yesterday at 2100? So we're looking at 9 p.m. Pacific when we got a convergence on the MACD. So we're just going to mark that loosely there, kind of see what that looks like on the 1-hour chart. But that being said, RSI is up over 70 still on the 4-hour. That's pretty standard, but it's just barely up over. And as you can see previously, it came up and came back down. But the key takeaway here is that we've got a support level at 50 on the RSI. As you can see, it's bounced two times, but almost 3 and 4 if you kind of take 55 into consideration. So again, that's just something to note. Some people don't know this, but the RSI, specifically just the RSI itself, the 14-day, it works very well as a support and resistance level. That's why this 50 is a dotted line typically all the way through, because if you look back here, it's working as a support. When it breaks below, considered resistance. But generally speaking, you can kind of expect the price to stay above or below based on where it's at presently. That's kind of the way it goes. So that's just something to understand for future reference. Looking at the 1-hour charts, we always look at Ichimoku cloud. Big surprise, we're up over the cloud. Take a look at this here too. I know that's kind of a terrible line that I drew, but if you kind of look right here, in this same 1-hour period was the exact same time we had a convergence on the MACD on the 4-hour chart. That is fantastic. We like to see that. These two typically correlate. So if you can set up any alerts, set up your alert for the MACD to when we get a convergence, the price swings up, you can actually get an alert and it'll tell you when that's happening. And you take a look here and you confirm on the 1-hour chart that the Ichimoku cloud is just about to break. Fantastic. That's like a perfect storm, double rainbow, whatever you want to call it. It's really awesome. So that's great. So obviously here, 1-hour apart, we saw the breakthrough. And then of course, once the price is above, if you're new to the channel or just Ichimoku cloud in general, it works the best on the 1-hour chart, first of all. But second of all, when the price is above the cloud, it's considered a support or more so a buy signal. And when it's below, it's considered a sell signal, right? So hypothetically here, even though this was very short-lived, that would have been a sell signal. This is going to be a buy signal, so on and so forth. So just something to remember. Put that in your toolbox, whatever you want to call it. So let's see here. Take a look at TD Sequential next. Now this one, well, there's not much to really note here, but this does give us a good example. So if you're new to TD Sequential, it's again more effective on the 1-hour chart, sometimes the 4-hour, but more so the 1-hour. And what it does, it tells you when there's market exhaustion. So if you see it count up from 1 to 9, there's a reset, and the reason why is because usually there's about 9 hours of continuation on a bullish or bearish trend, and then it retraces. So you can see here, we counted up to 9, counted down to 5, down to 3, and now we're back up to a 3 here with this next little push. None of that really matters because in states of consolidation, you'll get resets all the time. It's not going to count up to 9 because it's kind of trying to figure its price out. But now that it jumped up here, there's a likelihood, again, just loose likelihood of the fact that we could see 6 more hours of continuation on this bullish trend. As the price comes down, retraces, and bounces off the support level of 34 cents, we might see it continue back up. All right, that's kind of what we're looking at there for the old TD sequential. Now, looking at the 15-minute, we'll just go ahead and take a quick peek at the EMA and VWAP lines. Now, if you're new to the channel as well, I use the EMA 15. Easy to remember, it's on the 15-minute chart, EMA 15. I don't use the 9 or the 20. I think it's too much noise to use 2. I think 1 is best. You should never have more than 2 indicators present on each time frame, minus RSI and MACD. Those kind of like the 3 and 4. But what I'm getting at here is the EMA 15 is this red line. It's basically telling us we have bullish momentum. The price is above. Therefore, the bulls are in control. Furthermore, we also have the VWAP line here as well. That's the volume weighted average price. Takes the volume last 24 hours, expresses it as a price. Okay, so when the price is above VWAP, it's considered a support. Fantastic. We've got 2 checks right here. We got price over EMA, price over VWAP. Price is also over the support that we also marked at 34 cents, which was a previous resistance zone. Therefore, I feel like the price will continue to go sideways and or up in the very near future here, because this is a strong indication of the fact that the bulls are still in control. We have 2 indicators present telling us that we're in really good shape. The only thing that's a little concerning, which isn't terrible, the price was up over RSI previously, and therefore we need to probably wait for it to continue out sideways. Again, we want to have maybe an hour or 2 of consolidation and then get ready for another ramp back up. So I'm going to probably consider taking entry here at this point right now at 34 cents, and then set a stop loss just underneath it, like 33 or 32 cents, because heaven forbid it breaks and goes below support. It's all good. You get stopped out minorly, but there's a much more likelihood that Chiliz will continue upwards, because again, we already identified that 45 cents is a good lower zone in the average true range. Therefore, we have 12 cents to work with here, or maybe, well, it's actually 34 cents now. So we've got 11 cents to work with, and that's actually a pretty big gain when you think about it. Because if we do 11 cents, what is that? I didn't even do it right. Anyways, that's somewhere in the 30 to 40% range. That's a pretty good profit. So I would recommend this as a potential swing trade. Pay close attention to how the Bitcoin is performing, because that is a catalyst here. Of course, it wouldn't be doing this right now if Bitcoin wasn't performing well and consistently. But now that Bitcoin's up over 45,000, we're in very good shape here for Chiliz to continue to take off. So again, recommend utilizing a tight stop loss, and you'll be in pretty good shape. All right, so that's basically my plan of action. So what's yours? Feel free to comment below. And thank you so much for joining me here today. By the way, if you liked what you saw, I utilize this in all of my trades, and I share my trades with my patrons. So check that out in your own time. I have a signal group. I send signals to my group and let them know when I take entry. And this is likely going to be a very soon entry for me. That being said, thank you so much for your time. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.